Welcome to Psalm 96, and Psalm 96 is a little bit like Psalm 67. Now, we've seen a lot of Psalms, maybe you've lost track. Psalm 67 is that classic missions kind of Psalm, where it comes to the center point and it's kind of saying that the nations should be glad because God judges with equity all the nations of the earth. Well, Psalm 96 is an enthronement psalm, celebrating God's being on the throne and God's authority over all, and it's kind of bowing down and worshiping him, but there's more to it than that. Notice how it begins with this three-line call. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bless his name. Tell of his salvation from day to day. So there's a speaking of God's salvation. Where's that speaking happening? Well, look at verse 3. Declare his glory among the nations, his marvelous works among all the peoples. The intent of this psalm is that the salvation as well as the rule of God should be declared globally. See how this global language pervades the whole psalm. It says, for great is the Lord and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods, for all the gods of the peoples are worthless idols. Think about all the nations, all the different gods, all the different religions. This God, the true God, is to be feared above them all because all of those gods are worthless idols. In contrast, the Lord made the heavens. Isn't that astonishing? That's an amazing presentation of reality in a nutshell. All these idols, they can't make a thing. They have to be made. In fact, they have to be chained up so they don't fall over. Jeremiah and Isaiah and other places kind of mock the idols of the nations. Well, here it's saying, look, there's no contrast. There's no, or I should say no comparison. It's a massive contrast. They are worthless idols, but the Lord made not just the earth, everything. He made the heavens. Splendor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are in his sanctuary. Next section carries on and it gives us another three-line call at the beginning. Ascribe to the Lord, O families of the people, glory and strength, the glory due his name. Bring an offering. Come into his courts. That's amazing, isn't it? Look at that. There's an invitation for the families of the peoples, for all the peoples of the earth to come into God's courts, to worship him in the splendor of holiness, to tremble before him, just to make sure we don't miss it, all the earth, not just Israel, but everybody. There's a call here for everybody to come before God and to be able to worship him. And so what needs to be said? Well, say among the nations, the Lord reigns. Yes, the world is established, it shall never be moved. He will judge the peoples with equity. Reminds me of Psalm 67, verse 4. But the whole psalm, the whole of Psalm 96, is really a call not just to worship God because of his greatness and because of his salvation. It's to worship God and to let the whole world that they know that they can worship him too, to declare among the nations the glorious salvation of God. And so let me encourage you, read through Psalm 96. There's more than I've put on the screen. You need to look it up and see the whole thing. Read it through. Allow it to stir you to worship him, to celebrate him, but more than that, to speak of him, to say among the nations, to declare to the nations the glory of the Lord. Maybe Psalm 96, read carefully, prayed through and pondered, maybe Psalm 96 might be your catalyst for entering into global missions. Maybe it's the shove in the back that you need to think about how you today, this week, this month, this year can be a part of spreading the message of the greatness and the graciousness of God to a world full of worthless idols, a world desperate to know the true God. Have a look at Psalm 96. Allow it to have a huge impact in your life. Share it with others too. Worship God and declare his glory among the nations.